right. Hello, hello. Michael Edwards coming to you live. Do we have a conversation for you tonight? I'm so excited. If you are here watching, say hello and let me know. And if you're watching the replay, just drop hashtag replay down below. Let me know that you were here. So I have to tell you, I have to make sure that I have sound first. I have to tell you that I'm going to share with you today how we like the number one thing that I think will help you, not that I think, that I know will help you succeed and win in a really big way. This is the number one thing that I use with all of my clients. And honestly, I get the feedback all the time. How did you see that thing? Or how did you cut to the bottom of this? All the time, people will come in with these really convoluted problems, and I just cut straight to it all the time. This is what it is. This is what you need to change. This is what you need to work on. This is what's going to get the result. People go and they do it and they get incredible results. All kinds of things. Things like increasing their income. One of my mastermind clients doubled her monthly income this month. Things like changing family dynamics and relationships. I had a client this year who felt like, there was just like, she was like, I'm trying to evolve and grow, but there's so much in my family where it just feels like, they're not working on themselves, so I can't have the love and the happiness and the perfect family that I want. When she applied these things, it changed her entire household. And so this is really simple, and I'm really fired up right now, so we're really going to get into it. But it just starts with two really simple things. Number one is realizing that you are the creator of your reality. And we hear that so often, but I literally mean that. You create everything. Perception controls reality, and beliefs and energy create reality. And what this gives us is the power. When we really understand this, it gives us the power to change and recreate our lives. And the key point here is that we have to take responsibility. We have to take a level of self responsibility that most people will just never take in their life. Okay. And the reason that this is such a jump for a lot of us is because most of the population is living in different degrees of victim consciousness. Victim consciousness is this perspective of life is happening to me. I'm a victim. I have no power over my circumstance. I was dealt, this hand, and that's why my life is this way. And if you want to grab the evidence, because our logical mind loves evidence to dissolve this, it's really simple. Is there someone else who has your same circumstance who got the thing you wanted? If the answer is yes, then there's obviously a way out. So if there's someone that didn't grow up wealthy and they became super successful, then obviously that's possible. Is there someone who got their heart broken and thought that they were unlovable that found love? Yes, then obviously that's possible. But we do not have the power to create those things and experience those things in our lives until we truly take responsibility for our own lives. It is that simple. A lot of people are in this paradigm where they're going, I want to manifest this thing, or I want to create this good thing, but I don't want to take responsibility. I'm not responsible for this bad thing. Like, these bad things are happening, and I believe in my power to create this good thing, but I don't believe in my power to create these bad things. Your power to create is universal. And so when you stop looking at the things that are happening to you in your life as happening to you, but things that are you're in co-creation with and really that are happening for you, this changes everything. And one of the most important fundamental principles to understand with this is what's called the law of opposites. And the law of opposites tells us that when we are calling something in, we will very often experience its equal opposite first. And when we have the awareness around this, which is such a big thing that I teach, we can recognize it and we can utilize that opposition to deepen into the embodiment of what we're creating. So I'll give you an example. You can think of just any context of success and failure. So generally, when you're wanting to create success, the first thing that comes is failure. And so what a lot of people do, and this is the trap, is get hooked into that and go, oh, well, I'm calling in success, but I'm having this failure. And so that must mean that I'm a failure. I suck. It can't happen for me, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the truth. You're literally experiencing the opposite coming up first. And The law of opposites actually gives us the experience in our manifested reality to cultivate the thing within ourselves to create what you want. And so in the example, this is a very general example, but in the example of success and failure, a lot of times what that's going to be is resilience. I want success, I want to own my own business, I want to create this thing. Oh no, I'm experiencing failure first. Well, what does failure give me? It gives me the opportunity to create resilience, which you must have in order to have the level of success that you want. So when the law of opposites is activated and you're experiencing the opposition, it's literally the opportunity. The opposition is opportunity. Remember that opposition is opportunity. The opposition is your opportunity to become the match for who you are. The reason we hear so many stories about incredibly successful business owners and entrepreneurs that we hear this story all the time that they failed and failed and failed and then failed again and then they succeeded. Is that it's the failure sharpened them into the version of themselves that's going to create success. Hold on, my lights just went off here because I'm supposed to be winding down for bed. So let that sink in. The opposition is your opportunity to create that within yourself. A lot of the times there's so many examples of this that I could go into, but just so often we want this good thing and then we get something else that we don't want and we see that as evidence that we can't have what we want or that there's something wrong or they'll never have it instead of recognizing it for what it is, which is the opportunity for growth. The second thing, and like when I tell you guys that this is my secret weapon, there's a part of me that can't even believe that I'm sharing this with you tonight because like this really is my secret edge, but it's so simple. And this is why, I have really high level people who have had a ton of mentorship and a ton of guidance will come in to my world and into my mentorship and they'll say, how did you see that thing? Like, how did you see what that was? How did you get to the heart of it so quickly? Is I always ask myself, what's going on vibrationally? If something's happening in your life that you don't want, well, how are you a match for that vibrationally? Just ask that question again and again and again. How am I a vibrational match for this thing? How am I a vibrational match for this thing? I recently had this experience with a client who was sharing that she is not necessarily having the level of client that she wants to come in consistently. But she also shared that she was having a little bit of like a sticky thing with boundaries. And I just said, well, okay, well, how are you a vibrational match for that? This is actually law of opposites as well. It's like if you're having issues with boundaries at this level, but you want to have this experience at this level, you have to tidy this up first in order to become a full vibrational match for this thing. Same thing, I was just giving a talk to a group of coaches and practitioners that were earlier in their journey a couple of days ago. I think it was a couple of days ago now. And some of them were, I could feel in the things they were saying, were really disempowered around money and just different things in their life. And I was saying, and you've always got to look at, okay, well, why is that person having that? Well, obviously because they're not getting as many clients as they'd want and they're not making as much money. So then you've got to go, well, how are you a vibrational match for this? Well, I can see here again in this victim consciousness that's showing up. There's this victim consciousness that's showing up around money, and we're in a disempowered state, but we're asking for people to come to us. And I gave the example of, like coaching and mentorship, it really is a luxury to some degree. It's not a necessity, right? People who are struggling to pay groceries are not necessarily looking to hire a fitness coach or a coach to help them with their business or whatever. So there's already got to be someone who's empowered enough to be searching for growth to even be their client. So you've got to be a vibrational match for that to have that experience. And so if you're disempowered and you're complaining, you're saying like, well, I want to be empowered so that I want to have money so I can be empowered and I need like these clients to come. And it's like, well, if the client that's going to come has to be more empowered because they're looking for solutions than you, who's not looking for solutions, then you're not a vibrational match for that. So you're a vibration. We've just arrived at the reason that you don't have the amount of clients, success, impact, and money that you desire because you're a vibrational match for your result. And this is the truth. You are always a vibrational match for the result that you're getting. There is no if, ands, or buts to this rule. It is universal law. If you really want to grow, and this is such a difficult conversation because we love to blame, we love to offload responsibility, we love to go because of this, because of that, because of that. But if you can put on these goggles and you can see what it's going on in you that's creating the thing in your life that you don't want, then you immediately have the power to change it. And when you take that power and when you make those changes, and especially if you think about it from a vibration first perspective, you can change things massively, massively, massively. Um, Now, I will add the one caveat to this is that we have to interrupt our subconscious programs and kind of what's going on energetically. So we are programmed to operate a certain way, right? So there's like a lot of cycles in our life repeat. It's like this thing keeps happening to me. I keep dating this kind of person. I keep like I win financially and then I go back to the same kind of place. I have like these feast and famine cycles in my business. I have the ups and downs, ups and downs. I get really motivated, really dedicated, and I work, and then something happens, and then I fall off, and then I go through this whole cycle, right? So any cycles like that that are happening in our life are a match for the subconscious programs that we hold and the vibration that we're in, our frequency. And so you have to also be able to change those things. Or it's not even that you have to, it's that changing those things and understanding how to work with vibration and belief will help you shift so much faster. So I have an offer coming up soon called the Breakthrough Experience. And in celebration of this coming up, I am running a free 5-day experience called The Art of the Breakthrough, where I'm going to walk you through a breakthrough and I'm going to teach you a super simplified process to untangle your own subconscious programs, reprogram them, and shift your energy. It's going to be super simple. It's going to be super quick. And I'm going to be delivering it in 5 days in a private podcast feed. So you can just download it, not even download it. You just subscribe and you can listen every day. And it'll be about 10 minutes per day. If you want that, just comment or DM me breakthrough. If you're watching live on Instagram right now, make sure you send me a DM because the comments from the video don't stay. So if you want to participate in the Art of the Breakthrough free 5-day online event where I'm going to teach you literally how to rewire things, literally how to get below the surface into what's subconscious, into what's energetic, and shift it yourself and explain what a real breakthrough is, because this word has kind of become trendy and people use it a lot in the industry to be synonymous with insight, to be synonymous with a lot of different things. That's not what a breakthrough is. It's got to be something that happens at a deeper level where you literally break a cycle and pattern and you see it's broken in your life. You no longer are in this loop that's been repeating, but it happens because you change something subconsciously and energetically. So that is the Art of the Breakthrough. So comment or DM breakthrough if you want to join in for that, and I will send you the link. Or if you know that already that you're all in and you're like, this is my season for growth. I am so ready to change my relationship with myself, my confidence, my success in my business, and my money story. Then I also invite you to join us for the Breakthrough Experience, which is a 6-month container that's starting in like 2 weeks, starting the second week of February, I think. We go for 6 months. It is honestly one of my most amazing containers. It's really focused around this small group and a lot of intimate work where I get a lot of one-on-one time with you in a group setting. I think it's one of my most it is my most popular offer. So I also welcome you to check that out if you are interested. But I just will leave you with this. These two things are such simple things, but they're things that so many people resist, and they really keep us like not let's like look at them in opposition. So not taking responsibility, not believing you have control over your life, not believing that you are the creator of your reality, and any kind of blame or judgment is just going to keep you in a disempowered state. It's going to keep you just not having control over your life. And I lived like that for a long time. So I'm not looking down on anyone. I totally get it. Most of us were born into a world that thinks that way. So it's normal. We don't want to make that normal, but it's common, I'll say, to think that way. And I used to think that way. And I used to have a miserable life. I had a lot of problems. I was always complaining. I was, I was heavier than I wanted to be. I was less successful. I had less money, all the things. And when I learned all of the things that I teach now and changed my beliefs and created these breakthroughs by doing the subconscious and the energetic work, my life changed radically, 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 radically. And the same with so many of my clients. So, you know, I know this can be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but I would just ask yourself this: what if you believed how would your life be different if you believed that things were happening for you, that you were co-creating the things? You immediately have more power in your perception of reality. I wonder what you would do with that. And secondly, just looking at things vibrationally. And I guess I'll add on this. So why it's vibrationally is the key is because it's so easy to get in these mental constructs, right? So like people bring me problems all the time and they're like, well, this happened and then this happened and like this is what I think about it and then blah blah, blah. It's like this convoluted thing, right? And so one of the things that I had to get really good at as a mentor is just cutting right through it and going like, what's really going on here? What's really going on here? And I had a whole bunch of coaching training around doing that. But honestly, when I started asking myself this question, what's going on vibrationally? It just cuts through to the heart of it because you can see, well, how are you a match for this? And then it's like, oh, well, because you're doing this thing or you're not doing this thing or you're showing up a certain way or you're like under communicating, you're over communicating or you're people pleasing or you're moving from fear or you're moving from lack and that's why you're a vibrational match for that thing. And it's like, okay, well, just clean up that vibration, and cleaning up the vibration means cleaning up the thoughts and the actions that are all on that same vibration, but you just clean that up and you become a vibrational match for something different, and then you get something different. It's actually so easy. It's honestly it blows my mind how easy this stuff is once you really understand it, but the biggest thing is you have to do it. One of the number one saboteurs that people have is just being like an information hog, and they go and like listen to this thing and listen to this thing and listen to this thing and then don't actually implement all of the things. And that's what I see sometimes in my world is sometimes people will come in, they'll really participate for a couple of months and they're like, I'm so good. Like I've got it. I'm out. And they go out into the world and they kind of forget what we were working on, and they forget to look at things through that lens, and they, let other things in. And then a lot of times they'll come back like 5 months later and they'll be like, oh, like this happened and that happened. And like my business was down. Like, yeah, because look, like look at your vibration. Look what you became a vibrational match for. It's a mess. You forgot about all the things that I taught you. Right. And I've also noticed there's a big gap between, the people that I have that are in an earlier stage of entrepreneurship and an earlier stage of self-realization. Like a lot of times when people are not at 10K per month yet in their business, that kind of cycle is something that happens where I notice the people that are in, like my mastermind or my more close proximity stuff, a lot of them are doing, like they're working on like 500,000 or 1 million a year or more. They don't do that. They don't do that. They don't do the like, I've got it, I lost it, I've got it, I lost. They might have things where they kind of wobble, where they go in and out of like really being centered and in their power. That happens to everyone. But they don't do this thing where it's like they check in and then they like completely forget and then they check out. That I haven't actually put my finger on exactly what it is. I think it's like a commitment to consistency, and it's like patience and wide angle vision are superpowers. I've been really on that lately. Patience and zooming out are such underrated skills that will actually help you create such success. And as I'm around more and more successful people, I notice all the time that that is an incredibly prevalent tool, way of being, whatever you want to call it. So I think it's like that naturally develops. I don't know if I should say that naturally develops as people become more successful, or like people develop that and then they become more successful. I think they probably happen in tandem, but those two things go together. So that's on that frequency, that consistency, that patience, that long-term vision. Those are on the frequency of big money and big success. So that's something to look at as well. I was like, are you an information hog, or are you an implementer? So I'm not going to make this super long. I thank you so much. Hello, Jewel. Thank you so. All these people that I love just joined right at the end. This was a fiery live though. So if you guys are here, then I invite you. I'm just checking the comments. Yeah, definitely comment or DM me breakthrough, and I'll send you the link for the Art of the Breakthrough, the free 5-day online experience that I'm doing. And otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Michael Edwards. I'm sending you so much love